From wherever you are, and welcome to our review in progress of Spider-Man 2. Joining me are, of course, Spider Ho and Spider Chutney. I am Spider Pig, and here are our thoughts on the Spider-Man 2 game. Now, full disclosure, I don't have a PS5. I haven't played the game. However, I've been watching my colleague Zam play it today on Twitch. Do follow us on Twitch, NerdTube, or if you're watching us from there, give us a follow anyway. And Spider Ho has actually progressed much further than the rest of us whilst playing the game, so he can
Yes.
give us even more in-depth opinion on it. But from what I've seen and from the other two individuals' experiences, we've got things to say. And right off the bat, I'm just going to say the game looks very meh. I'm not blown away by it. The gameplay mechanics feel like a step down. Like the game has been just kind of more simplified compared to Spider-Man 2. I haven't played Miles Morales because I mean Spider-Man 1.
hmm
And yeah, I'm not exactly blown away, but before I give more thoughts on it, Spider-Hole, your thoughts?
I'm gonna go ahead and say this: like, all right, in performance mode, it runs at 60 FPS and it's nice. But here's the problem: the combat is repetitive as hell. It's the same game. It's essentially like an extension DLC, is what it feels like to me. It's not anything new. It's not anything fresh. It's like I'll give them this: the opening to the game, which I'm not going to give anything away. The opening to the game is probably the best opener I've ever played to a video game. That was cool. But everything after that has been like, go here, kill these bad guys, chase this car down, put this fire out, go hunt for this, puzzle piece that you need to get, go do these puzzles that lead to something that you don't give a shit about. So yeah, it's all right. It's a good game. It's not outstanding. It's going to be game of the year for a lot of people, but I don't know if I'd call it that.
Yeah, Spider Chutney.
This game, as I said to you earlier, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It does feel very similar to the first game.
hmm
Almost without knowing what's different about it, and the fact that you have to re-earn a lot of Peter Parker's abilities again after earning them in the first game,
And
and
Miles
some of
too.
the well, I forgot because you do play as Miles in the DLC, so yeah,
hmm
that too. So, but having to re-earn these abilities again, I think was a bad move. Like, if anything, some of these like some of these moves should have been available from the get go.
hmm
You are continuing, and so I'm really disliking that. I'm really fucking disliking having to re-earn these particular moves. Um,
No
I
worries,
just
Tito.
I really wanted to love this game, and it is beautiful and everything about it, but it just feels the same, and
hmm
that's a little bit of a of a disappointment with this game. I heard about this already from a lot of reviewers. Now I'm playing it. I get it. I do get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I look. The game's sold really well. It's broken records for Sony, and all that's great. But this game does not have a right to call itself Game of the Year by any measures. Compared to some of the amazing stuff we've had so far, this is very much a mid game. It's very mid tier. It's like it's not only does it not reinvent the wheel, which is fine.
hmm
The problem is it scales back a lot of the stuff. So, for example, stealth takes a huge step back in this game. Like the now you're just kind of more doing a Batman thing of waiting from the top and pulling people up. There's no gadgets to kind of help you like in the first one where they kind of interject and like set up traps and all this. From what we've seen so far, that might come down the line, but I've heard like even the gadgets take a bit of a step back in this as well. But another example is when you're stopping a car now, it's you press triangle, land on the car, press square, and the job is done.
hmm
Used
That's
to be
That's
it.
able to
literally
dodge
all it is.
bullets. Yeah,
Yeah,
no more dodging bullets or anything like that. No more taking three guys out the car and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, and then
And
like okay, but go ahead. Because I got
No,
another
no, no.
thought.
It's just basically, in a nutshell, the QET events are ridiculous.
QTE.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
are, yeah. So
too
yeah,
much.
so QTE, the quick time events are just beyond ridiculous, and like I'm thinking, am I doing
I shut
anything
that
here?
shit off. I shut that shit
Yeah.
off because they gave you an option. They're like, "Do you want quick time events?" I said, "Fuck no," because
Oh,
I
you
know
can
that
turn
game.
them off.
Yep, because I know this game is going to be littered with those things.
Oh, that's good.
But by the looks of things, like there are certain scenarios that have to be quick time events. No,
Hmm.
like when you're fighting. I mean, look, we saw in the trailer you fight Sandman,
Yep.
and there are moments when you fight Sandman, and I think to myself, well, this is a quick time event. It has to be
Yep.
like this. You can't get around it when you you switch it off or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's,
But okay,
yeah,
like going back to Ginger's point of like, you got to sneak around like Arkham City. You can fucking fight your way through this. Like, you don't even fail the mission if you like say like, oh yeah, don't get caught. Peter and Miles could just say fuck that and just go through and kick some ass, resulting in like you just progressing through the fucking game. So there's
Yeah,
no
and
consequence.
I hate games that they start off with great stealth elements and they kind of give up on that kind of shit.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, well, I could never really call Assassin's Creed a stealth game. It never really was. It took up until the much later games for it to implement basic stealth elements into it.
Hmm. And even then, you can
But
fight your way out if you had to.
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And I think for this one, what would have been the next evolution would have been like planning your missions ahead, like setting up your traps, um, you know, using like more gadgets more effectively, like just learning just yeah, just some kind of mission planning option, how you approach a mission. You can go in and beat the shit out of people, or you could do it fully stealth, or things like that. And it just all that I've seen so far is go here, beat up a bunch of bad guys, and just press a couple of buttons to do, and it does too much for you. Like the
Hmm.
cutscenes, obviously constant and annoying, but it does too much for you. So I'm watching the first kind of mission that takes place on the ship. Again, those spoilers. Just traversing through the ship, it just seems very much like click this web straight
Hmm.
through there and all this, and just press this QTE and to me it feels like a rail shooter. Like you're not really in control.
Hmm.
Only when you're just chilling in the city do you get some kind of control. But then again, it's just they've done a Ubisoft on it and they've just kind of scaled everything back rather than build on it. And yeah, I'm just not blown away. I just really like just it's I said it months ago when the first trailers kind of popped out. I said, look, this game just it doesn't even look as good as the first one, because the first one had a lot more stuff. This one really was just fight, 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 fight.
Hmm.
So the fact that people get wrapped up in the hype of it is just, you know, stupid. If I'm
Yep.
being honest,
And
like
to
you
be
need to
honest,
take
too,
a step
like,
back and invest and just look at the game for what it is.
and combat wise too, they literally change fucking nothing. Like, okay, what do you do now? Team ups and you do tag team finishes basically. That's basically what it is, because you do get to team up with Miles in the game and like you do cool like finishes. And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
but there's nothing more
It's
to it
still
than that.
It's
Yeah.
still QTE,
Hmm.
regardless. What this game should have been, and I'm hoping they do that with the third game. It should have been a fucking co-op game.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what it should have been. I mean, a co-op game that you can play as a single player game. So, and you could jump. If you do play single
Yeah,
player game, you
jump
could
in,
jump
jump
between
out.
mods.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you can jump between either character, but yeah, there should have been a co-op game, and that would have really have made this way more interesting. And there will be moments where you can obviously unify and stuff like that. Maybe QTE would have to come into play, but if you time it right, then it works and it feels good. Yeah, I mean, and stuff like that. But yeah, God, I hate to say it. I'm going to finish this game off, and I am at times enjoying it. And some of the fight scenes are really good, especially when on the boat when I'm fighting all these henchmen and stuff like that, and I'm just like jumping between one to another and another. But I know if I had all the abilities already at hand, I'll be able to do some serious, cool, stylish ass kicking that I'm not able to do yet because I'm still early in the fucking game and I got to collect all these goddamn skill points and progress. And like I just wish all of these things were available already. I don't. These levels of progression, I'm not interested in anymore. I want to be able to do fucking everything. Like I want in this is the sequel now. This is the sequel to this game. Whatever I was able to do in the first game, I want it available in this game, and I can't do that.
And just add some new shit that you could do, because your level of enemies is a lot more different, a lot more harder. For example, so you add more, not take away, and then have to get it all back again. I think, that again, another just weird decision. And it worries me because obviously I'm gagging for the Wolverine game, but if the Wolverine game is going to play much like Spider-Man,
it's going to be ass kicking all the way through with nothing,
it's
with
just
no
going to be
innovation.
what's the fucking point? Like, I want to see some like cool, like just different elements of combat again, like your enemies, plan your missions ahead, or just take a different approach, have different variety of enemies, not your same kind of
I mean,
stuff. Even
I
when
want
it's
to.
go on.
I want to do more wall crawling. Like you do it in the game, but I want it to be very much implemented in the game that you have to do it. Like I want to be able to do way more of that. There's, it's little things like that to make you feel like a spider in Spider-Man. Like the
Inside
swinging's
buildings
there.
and go inside the building rather than everything on the outside. So you have to walk all around and sneak around and all this kind of stuff. And hey, SpinXO, and just something a bit more different, like a bit more interactive with the city, rather than it's just this. Even the running
Taking
around
photographs.
takes like a backseat, and it's more like swing. It's like it's more the emphasis on swing around the city and
Swing,
emphasis
fight, swing,
on
fight.
combat. There's no other emphasis on any other kind of getting around or traversing or things like that. Like you say, the wall crawling and all this kind of stuff. And you platinum the game already.
Damn.
Good Lord. Damn.
I'm only halfway through the fucking game. Makes me need to catch up. And
I just got a job at Oscorp. That's all I.
Yeah, you're not too much far behind me. You're not too much farther behind. Behind where I am.
We're not doing spoilers, so no spoilers for people. No spoilers in the comments for people.
That can wait until November, when I think then we can lift our embargo ban and say on the November 5th podcast, now we can talk about the fucking game and be like, here's what we liked, here's what we didn't like. But so far, what I like, okay, I'll give them this. Accessibility wise, for disabled people, they fucking nailed it. They're like, you don't want puzzles to be too hard, you don't want QTEs, you can turn that shit off. I'm like, all right, cool. But the downside is pretty much everything else, where the combat is the fucking same. You could literally uppercut a guy into the air, then do the thing where you web him down to the ground, and that's it. And you can do that with everybody, no matter what.
No, I uppercut him in the air, and then I web up to him and beat the shit out of him in the air, and then maybe do a little swing. And kick him and stuff like that. I look. I'm not the creators of these games. I don't know what I necessarily want, but it's the people who make these games who need to figure that out. Yeah, and unfortunately, they came up with pretty much close to a masterpiece the first time round. It's very difficult to make a game which is so good the first time round that you can't improve on it on the second time round, and that's Spider-Man. Other games, you can make a game first time round, and then you realize, okay, I can make it better. And usually, sequels do end up being a lot better and gives you what you appreciate before by also adding to it. This game hasn't added jack shit.
How the fuck did you? How the fuck did you finish it the first day? Did you not sleep? Because only people with no lives would be able to do that. I'm like, bro, I can't even do that. I'm like, man, but yeah. What I would like to see is I want it to be a co-op game, and if we're gonna do the stealth elemental shit, I want to see an emphasis on the war, sneaking around kind of Spider-Man. That's what I would do to make
Yeah,
this game great.
I wanted more elements of like stealth.
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
stealth should have played a bigger role here, not take a back seat. That just doesn't make any sense. Like if you have harder enemies, you should have a more stealthy approach. But here it's just more like, just go in there, beat them up, and it takes a lot of punches to kill enemies as well. What I've seen,
Spin XO,
and
it's always that way. The combat always
It's
gets
always
better
that, yeah.
every time
But
you beat the
the point
game.
is, I unlocked everything in the first game, so I don't want to have to do it for the second game. Like
Hmm.
my character should have already earned all of these abilities. He doesn't need to re-earn them again.
Hmm.
That's my fucking issue.
Yeah.
yeah,
And these levels of progression in games are not fun. I want variety. I want different types of ways of combat. I want to be more. I want to rescue people, not just fucking kill. Fight people.
Yeah,
Not
you don't
enough of
want the
that.
activities to be the same either.
Yeah,
You don't want to do the same three things. You don't want to be like, stop this car, put this fire out, do this other task. It's like, come on, spread the shit out. At least do
yeah,
like 8 different
too
little
much
mini
of the
games.
same.
Yeah.
I like I again I don't like from again what I heard, no spoilers, but the way Spider-Man 2 ends is setting up for the third one, which is fine.
Yep.
But what I want in the third one has to be multiplayer and
Hmm.
not just two player. It has to be multiplayer. Like even if it means you're doing Miles and what's his face, Miles and Spider-Man, and then like another character, maybe one of the villains gone good or whatever, or something
Venom
along those lines. Yeah, like Venom,
Yep.
for example, and all this kind of
or
shit. Like,
Spider Gwen from an alternative universe. They
yeah,
could
you
do that.
could
Yeah, I
do
mean,
that. Well, they could save the multiverse for the Spider-Man 4 if needed, but they need, yeah, the third one needs to do a lot better than the sequel. I know.
Or
You
here's
thought
a
the game was
crazy
a
idea.
I'm sorry, I have to
Yep.
disagree. Like
Or
the
here,
story's fine for what it is, but the gameplay is a
it's the
huge
same.
step back.
Yep. But here's a
It's just
crazy idea.
all the
They
same.
could do they could do a sequel to that Spider-Man game Shattered Dimensions that came out in the early 2010s. That was a good game because you had 4 different Spider-Man you could play as, and they all felt fucking different. Like the symbiote Spider-Man was the strongest of them all. Peter, the regular Spider-Man, was a master at webbing. You got to play as 2099 Spider-Man, and his shit was futuristic. And then you got to play as Noir Spider-Man, which means you had to sneak around and you could not fight people. Like
Yeah,
that was an interesting touch. If you did that Spider-Man like that, then I'd be like, okay, cool, because then you get a
look,
diverse group of Spider-Man.
look, I haven't finished it, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't want some of my side missions to be taking photographs.
Mm,
Like, I know, I don't get me wrong. I know that's something that is fundamental to who Peter Parker is, but it's just not a clever idea, in my opinion, to take
mm.
photographs.
You're doing you're doing
I
it for
don't.
the
That's not
trophy.
fun.
Yeah, you're
And what
doing
I'm
it.
doing, I'm doing it so I can earn the credits and whatever to unlock shit, to make the game more fun, as Spin XO suggests. But that's the grind,
Hmm.
and I hate grind. I'm getting too old for it, man. I can't play. I wanted to play this game, 10 years ago or longer. I would have played this game for hours upon hours upon hours.
Hmm.
Today I really pushed myself, maybe 3 or 4 hours. That's about as much as I can do nowadays. I just haven't got it in me to push as hard as I used to. And I just whilst playing it, I was thinking to myself, this is not much different to what
The
I've already
first
done
game.
before.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those games where it was
especially
like,
the
okay,
DLC.
yeah, if this came out like 10 years ago, we would all be calling it probably like, oh man, this would be one of the greatest games of all time. You look back at Arkham City and you even go, yeah, this shit was good, but is it really as good as we remember it being? I mean, time
Oh
does
yeah,
that
it
to a
is.
person.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
to disagree there. Arkham
yeah.
City
But
is a
Arkham City
fucking
is one of the best games of all
masterpiece.
time.
But
Yeah.
Arkham Knight was a relegation.
Hmm. That
No,
damn
no,
Batmobile.
the mold game was actually better because you could do perch takedowns without being on the perch.
Yep.
Like in the first Spider-Man game, you have to be on the edge of a building or whatever. If you were actually on the ceiling and you wanted to take somebody down, you couldn't do that in the first Spider-Man game. But
Hmm.
you could do that in Miles Morales. So they improved on that, and luckily, you could still do that in this particular game. I um
And
at
I have
times
another.
actually I thought the swinging wasn't as good as the first game. Like there was times where I was swinging the wrong fucking direction. I was thinking to myself, what the fuck?
Yep.
I mean, I was like that really pissed me off.
And I've got
Yeah,
another
Yeah,
like,
nitpick
see you
too.
going the other way all
I
the
liked
time.
how
yeah.
I liked
Yeah,
how in Miles Morales you could replay missions if you wanted to. You can't do that in this one, and that's what kind of sucks. I'm a big replay mission kind of guy because I want to be able to replay some of my favorite levels in the fucking game. Can't do that. I
maybe
know we've
after you
got New Game
complete it,
Plus, but maybe. But I don't know
maybe after
yet.
you complete it, you can replay the missions. But
Yeah,
it'll be daft if you can't. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, and also there's absolutely no way this is a game of the year. Like I know for a lot of people they want it to be, but when you've got Tears of the Kingdom and when you've got Baldur's Gate 3 and shit like that, this game is just no, it doesn't fucking deserve it at all.
Mm.
Even Viewfinder, which was a short puzzle game, is mind-blowingly good. This is just a good action game for those that like good action games. That's as far as I will go with it.
Okay,
It's not,
Spin XO, I'll
This
give you
the
this. I'll give you this. It might be action game of the year, but I don't know if I'd personally call it like my game of the year. Like I'm like, I could see it being like a cult classic kind of game where it'll be like, okay, once every few years you'll go back and you'll replay it. You'll have a good time with it. Then you'll put it down and go play something else. I think that's what Spider-Man 2's legacy is going to be.
yeah.
yeah,
Game of the
for
year
me.
is between Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And I know there's another game in there as well, which I just bloody forget. But it's yeah, it's between those two and one other game.
Look, for me, like when I was playing this game and I saw that skill tree, and there's a skill tree for Miles, there's a skill tree for Peter, and there's a skill tree for both of them. And even then, the skill trees themselves have several branches within them.
Mm.
I was like, oh fuck! Like this is just like this is way too much, man. This is way too like I just want to be able to do some of the good shit without having to fucking unlock everything. And that means that in order for me to do all this good shit, I'm gonna have to fucking side mission galore. And maybe I would like to do some of this good shit in the side mission, but I can't now. With using the side missions to unlock it, so when I get to the main missions, these abilities are available for me. And it's just I don't like this. It's stuff like that that really puts me off a game. Nowadays, I'm getting really pissed off with skill trees, skill points, and stuff like that. I just want to be able to fucking do everything. If anything, I just want abilities to be naturally unlocked. Oh look, this has been. I'm able to do this now. I had no idea I could. Now I can. Because I've gone this far in the game without having to choose, should I take this branch or that branch, and should I give it to this?
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah,
the
that's
kind of game though where
that
it'll be like,
character.
it's going to be the
Yeah.
kind of game where it's like you'll platinum it and then you'll put it down and you won't think about it for a while because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to platinum it and then I'm putting it down and then I'm moving on to other shit. I'm
Well, let's
moving on
put
to
it this
whatever's
way.
coming out next year.
Yeah, Arkham City and Arkham Knight. I've gone back to 100 times. Arkham Knight for the DLC, which has the best
Yes.
DLC of any game ever. Fucking amazing. The main game, bah. But the DLC, 10 out of 10.
Arkham City, I
Arkham
could pick up
City-
right now and play it and just
Yeah.
be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Arkham City is just one of the best games to replay over and over again. Even Arkham Asylum is a good fun playthrough.
And if you use the
Spider-Man,
cheat codes for the suits
I
too.
played it. I completed it,
Yeah.
and I got rid of it. I had no desire to go back to the game
Yeah.
because it was just like it was good, the first one, but once you're done, you're done. This one
Mhm.
looks like the same. Looks like it's gonna be one of those just play it and then just get rid because there's nothing really much
Yeah.
to it. But let's see how it progresses. I'll keep an eye on these playthroughs. Oh,
Yep.
guys. With that being said, we can go ahead and give our rating. What the game would be boring if everything was unlocked. The devs want you to invest time to progress the characters. Yeah, but it's again
And that
with
makes sense, but you do this in every fucking game.
every game.
Yeah.
Every game is the same.
Mm-hmm.
What
I
they
would
should
like some of the yeah, I would like a whole bunch of abilities
Uh,
at least available from the get go. I was looking forward to being able to web a guy and then spin him around like I did in the first game. I couldn't do that without I unlock that ability. Or looking forward to maybe web a guy and then pull his guns from his hands. Couldn't do that like I wasn't able to, which I was able to do in the first game because I have to unlock that
yep.
ability in this game. The things that I remembered from the first game, I can't do in this fucking game.
Mm-mm.
And you know, but yeah, but grinding's not fun either. By the way, not. I want to play a video game and enjoy it. I don't want to.
It's
I
different.
don't want to
Look,
fucking. Grind.
grinding is different if the gameplay is unique and fun and all of this, but this isn't.
Yep.
This is a grind that just isn't like it's just basic. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
all the mission types are the same, and so eventually you just get bored of it. You
Mhm.
just want to get through the mission, but then you can't keep going through the missions because you need to want to unlock better stuff and strength out your character, and it's that
Here's
kind
what's
of
and here's what's going to happen. You're going to platinum the game, and then you're going to be like, "Oh, I had a good time with it," and then you're going to revisit it in maybe a year, and then you're going to go, "Man, this game is not as fun as it was the first time I played it." Because that's what I'm going to be going through. I already
yeah,
know. I'm going to be like, I admit, out of the three of us, I'm having a good time with it. I'm having some fun with it. It's an awesome game. But to call it a game of the year, to call it like one of the best games of all time, I'm like, okay, I might give you action game of the year because okay, action game of the year, I might meet you halfway on that. But beyond that, there's not much else I could say about it.
yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and rate it because I don't want this video to drag
Yep.
on. So, Spider Hole, your rating so far?
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7. I mean, it's a good game, but it's not all that great. If they fixed the combat to where it wasn't always the same shit all the time, if you didn't always have to unlock the abilities from the start like you did in previous fucking games in every game ever, and if it was co op, this would have got at least a 9 out of me. If they made it a co op game, it could have pushed it to a 9. And if they would have made the stealth elements of the game actually mean fucking something, then it would have been a 9 out of 10. It would have been one of the games that everybody needs to pick up and play. But it's all right.
All right, Spider Chutney.
6.5. I'm hoping that by the time my playthrough is over, that my rating will have improved. But at this particular moment in time, I just feel like this is Spider-Man 1.5. You know, it
Mm.
doesn't feel like Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
and that's a detriment. I mean, like it's all good that you bring in all these other people from Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. That's great. Sandman, we've seen him for the first time. That's great. I know we'll see Venom later on, and we've had Craven the Hunter. All of these people, but that's not going to make the game good. What makes the game good is the gameplay, and the gameplay is seen that, done it all on the t-shirt. What have you done for me recently? What have you done for me lately? What's new you got to show me? And that hasn't been the case. And like I said, I think a game like this is very hard to improve on. It really is, which is why they need to make co-op. You
Hmm.
know, I think co-op is the only way they can improve on this game.
Make the co-op, make it co-op, and make the stealth actually matter. Make me want to be
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I finished AC Mirage, by the way, and that game is just okay as well.
Yep, it's all
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna give it a 5 so far, and all the points go to the story, which looks pretty decent so far. Again, the voice acting knocking it out of the park. The storyline looks to be really good. That's the only thing worth investing in my opinion. Sometimes you can get a good game, a shit game where the story is amazing. That's why I keep always harkening back to Mafia 3,
I figure
where
when
it's a shit game but great story.
Yeah,
So
I figure when November 5th rolls around, by the time I'm back to do World's Gone Insane, that's when I'm going to be able to really give my in-depth review of Spider-Man and see if my rating has changed. Because, like I said, I'm only halfway through. I'm having a good time with it, but I don't know if my rating's ever going to go higher past a 7
yeah, yeah, we'll definitely
overall.
come back to the game. But
Yep.
on that note, I'm gonna end the video here. Keep it under 30 minutes. Thank you, Spin, for joining us in the comments. Thank you to my two co-hosts, and keep an eye on us on NerdTube. We'll be back with lots more content. So if you're not a follower, please follow or subscribe. And on that note,